Man, 40 frames. Sorry to hear that, man. What kind of pre-built system are you using? Oh, leave in the comment area. What? 7700 and a 1080? Why are you only getting 40 frames a second, man? Oh no. What are you going to do with your other system? It sounds like you still have some pretty good hardware. Alienware isn't supported? That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. No, it definitely doesn't make sense. Who said that? Okay, at least you're getting some money out of it. What kind of video card do you think you're going to use? Alienware tech support told you that? That's crazy. Doesn't sound like a very good experience. So it runs good in everything except for Battlefield. You're running like the latest drivers and everything? AliExpress cars, what? Well, you should at least have better luck with your new system. Yeah, that 1180 will be pretty cool. Or 2080, whatever they settle on for a name. My thing is, what is that going to cost? It's probably going to be like an $800 video card. US anyways. Where are you from? I like the S340. It's a good case for the money. You are talking about the case, I assume. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say at this point, based on all the rumors. I don't feel like the 70 series will be better, but you know, that's just going on pure rumors. So, I mean, I think if it's close and it's cheaper, that would be good and more energy efficient. Because the 1080 Ti is still a really good performer. I just don't think this next generation NVIDIA is going to be too significant. There's not much competition right now either. I think it's definitely worth waiting for the new generation cards, just kind of see where they're going to be price wise, because if anything, they're going to bring down the current stuff price. Hey, hold on, buddy. You wanna come up here with me? Got my buddy here with me today. Oh man, got surrounded. Oh, this is my son, Jameson. Hey, Jameson. Wave to the camera. Say hey.
Hi.
Yeah, our viewer said hello, buddy. Hey, you can have one of these in a minute. Okay. Did you eat your other food?
No.
You gotta eat your chicken, buddy.
No.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So for anybody that's watching, anybody that watches this video later from now, this is the 2700X finally getting some footage on the channel of it. I've been trying to give Ryzen the benefit of the doubt and use my BDI 3600 memory, and I haven't been able to get even 3400 megahertz out of the memory. So what I'm running right now is a fully tweaked 3200 megahertz. Oh, let me get down. Fully tweaked 3200 megahertz, straight 14, 28 timings. Fully tweaked sub timings is the best I could get on this X370 Strix motherboard. I don't know if I'm gonna get a X470 and see if I can get more out of the memory, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. I've been spending quite a bit of time trying to get it stable, so I really wanted to get fully tweaked 3400, between 3400 and 3600 memory speed and see what it would do. Micro stutter with the 2700X, you're asking? I'm assuming that's what you're asking. There is some stutter, but Battlefield's gonna have some stutter regardless because there's a Windows standby memory issue. I was gonna make a video on that pretty soon, but we can discuss some of that right now. It doesn't really happen in all games. It's once your standby memory fills up, some games kind of have some memory issues and thus get those pretty big stutters. Battlefield's one of those games. I do notice that it's worse. It's a little bit worse on Ryzen than it is on my 8700. But I would say it's quite playable. And right now the streaming is actually happening on the processor side of things. I am using the fastest encoder to keep the load down on the CPU. As you can see, I'm hitting as low as 89 FPS right now, but that's not really too bad considering that I'm encoding with the processor while I play this game. This game's pretty demanding too. I will say I tried I'm using OBS to do this, and I tried the fast believe it's a fast encoder, and that's just not really doable, at least not while playing Battlefield. There is way too much latency, and the frame drops are pretty bad. Yeah, this 2700X is also at 4.2 gigahertz. The most I could get out of this chip was 4.275. It wouldn't do 4.3 for anything. Like not even 1.45 volts. And I wasn't really trying to go much beyond that for another 25 megahertz. That's not how I wanted to go brown. I'll probably be doing this same test here pretty soon with the, that guy was armored. With the 8700K, we'll use the same settings and see if it can play this nicely, see if those extra cores on the 2700X can help carry the weight. Alright man, thanks for stopping by. Have fun on your vacation. Oh, I thought he was going to get closer. No, this really isn't that bad. Like I say, it is on the absolute fastest encoder preset. I'm streaming. YouTube allows higher bit rates than Twitch, so I'm at like 11 megabits per second. And that's because I'm streaming at QHD. Not sure if you were here when I mentioned this, but on fast it's not really doable in my opinion. Some people might want to put up with it, but the fast encoder is just not ideal, at least not while playing this game. The unfortunate thing about a lot of broadcasting software like OBS is you can't really select the cores you want to use, which would be really beneficial, because if I could use like the extra 4 threads just for streaming, that would be nice, because then I would get more uninterrupted performance. But OBS wants to share the threads that are already getting used for the game, and that's what's causing these frame dips. And there's a little more latency, but I mean overall getting 100 FPS while streaming, you know, encoding with the processor is really not that bad. believe I'm on ultra right now too. Okay, yeah, ultra 100% scaling, 1440p, 165 hertz. I turn motion blur off, and I turn off some of these like film grain effects because they just don't do anything for me, and they actually only work on some maps. And I'm using a 1080 Ti right now. It's the Strix model, and it's not overclocked above the factory overclock right now anyways. And this system's also a clean install, running all the latest drivers. Okay, so I have two systems right now. I have an 8700K that I normally use most of the time, and then I have this Ryzen system. This Ryzen system was running an R7 1700, and I usually ran that overclocked between 3.7 3.9 gigahertz. 3.9 more so just to kind of see what the most I could get out of it was. Really the most efficient overclock for that processor was about 3.7. It took considerably less voltage. But the 2700X, as far as gaming goes, the changes that they made to the memory controller and the slightly better clocks that come out of the Ryzen 2000 series make it a better gaming chip. My experience on this processor is noticeably better across the board compared to the 1700. And really the 2700X out of the box probably doesn't really need overclocking to be a good gaming processor, where like if you got something like the 1700 non-X like I had, you absolutely need to overclock that because it all cores at like 3.2 gigahertz, and that's just it's not very good, at least not for anywhere near high refresh gaming. I still like my overclocked 8700K the best for gaming. I just feel that it gives me better frame rates from what I've observed, and it also just feels a little bit smoother. But this 2700X is definitely the closest AMD's ever been to Intel as far as gaming goes. And I don't think that getting that 2700X is disappointing. The only thing that's really disappointing is the fact that I can't push memory beyond 3200 megahertz on this X370 Strix motherboard. It's only rated for 3200 megahertz, and it's, from what I've been experiencing, I can't really push beyond 3200. I have 3600 BDI memory in here right now, and I've ran it at the XMP profile, and it'll run for a little bit, but sometimes I'll get post errors, sometimes I'll get random crashes, so it's not really stable. And I can only make it through like 30 minutes of a memory test. So I'm kind of on the fence right now if I want to get a X470 motherboard and push for those 3400 megahertz tweaked clocks. But right now I'm running fully tweaked 3200, and it seems to do well. I feel like beyond the speed of memory I'm running right now, there's diminishing returns, and a lot of the information that's out there already kind of shows that. Now this does give an improvement over running the slower timing Hynix 3200 memory, but it also comes at a cost. Yeah, it's a pretty similar setup if you really get down to it. 7820X is a good processor though. I would definitely hang on to that for a while. Let's try high settings, see if that helps us out at all, or if we are capped by streaming. What kind of gaming issues do you think you're having? Oh god, he revived me. Gaming issues. Yeah. Yeah. If you don't have stable overclocks, you're not going to get good results. What kind of overclock are you running on your 1600? I'm running this at 1440p. It was on ultra. I just put it on high. Oh, that's pretty good. That seems pretty conservative. 4.7 at 1.25. Temps under 70. That's a nice overclock. Have you ever tried pushing it further? And you're having stability issues with your Ryzen at 3.9, 3.95. On my 1700, I was not able to go beyond 3.9. 3.9 was really pushing it. Yeah, temps in the 70s is fine. At that voltage, it's probably not worth going for that high of an overclock though. Especially if you're having mixed stability issues. Have you tried bringing it back to like 3.8 or something? The difference on my 1700 anyways, the difference between what it took for 3.8 and 3.9 was like 0.1 volts. It was pretty significant. Not worth it for 100 megahertz. You eating your food? In my experience, excuse me, the extra 100 megahertz really, even though you want more frame rates, the extra 100 megahertz is not even going to be noticeable. You know, if you're doing some benchmarks, you'll see some like minute number difference, but as far as like actual perceivable performance, you're probably better off just getting the stability out of the like 3.8 or something, or even like 3.8 and a half. Oh sweet, tank grenade. What kind of memory are you running on your Ryzen system? Hey. I will say there is some rare occasions, depending on the map that I'm playing, that even on the overclocked 8700K, I don't always get 90% GPU usage, but I'm very often over 90%. And that's another reason why I lean towards that platform, is more so on Ryzen I see less than 90%, but like I say, this with the good memory timings that I'm using right now and the overclocked 2700X, God, I hate how you catch on fire in this game. it's certainly a lot better. Anyone notice that you run around like you have gasoline on you in Battlefield 1? That's something that they changed in Battlefield 5, and I'm so happy for it. What motherboard are you using? That the thing with Ryzen that's pretty unfortunate is 3000 megahertz memory is kind of a limiting factor. Not really so much on Intel, but with Ryzen there's something to gain from faster memory, particularly B-die memory with lower timings. Going from 3000 memory to like, if your motherboard will support it, which mine won't, 3400 with super tight timings will actually result more performance gain than the overclock. Hey, you went up? What'd you do? You hurt your hand? You good? What'd you do? You're okay. You have one up here? Hold on, getting shot at. You went down already? Oh, there you go. Caught on fire again. If you just look at fire in this game, you catch on fire. You can actually run through fire in Battlefield 5, which is kind of nice. What are you doing? Huh? Yeah, you're right. You shouldn't have frame rate issues with a 1080 Ti and a 7820X. Do you have another monitor? Are you able to open up your task manager and see if you have anything utilizing processes in the background? Oh yeah, I'm sure you saw a really big benefit from going from single channel 2400 to dual channel 3000. Hey, chill, buddy.
Oh.
There you go. So I mean, so 3000 memory it's not terrible. It's just Ryzen relies on fast, low latency memory so much that every little bit counts. Like really you gotta download that and you might even benefit from it with the memory you have. You need to download that DRAM calculator. I can show you how to get it, and try tweaking all your subtimings. There's certainly something to gain with Ryzen from tweaking memory. And you sorted your tasks based on usage, highest usage first. I also have had some issues with Windows updates since last year. If you're still running the same Windows install from last year that's been through all the updates, you might be taking a hit from that. I've since reinstalled both of my systems this year. This one was just reinstalled like 2 weeks ago, but my 8700K was earlier this year, so it's been through the spring update. Okay, 3-month-old. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be getting issues there. Have you tried clean installing your drivers? Your graphics driver, at least? Man, barely lost that. What about your motherboard BIOS? What version are you running? Or do you at least know if it's the latest version? Okay, most current. Now, is it just a Battlefield issue, or do you see this issue in other games? Battlefield 1 only. I do have some stuttering issues. There's stuttering issues on all of my systems, and that's partly a Battlefield issue. I don't know if you were here when I mentioned it, but there's a Windows standby memory issue, and there's some like kind of lame fixes for it because Windows hasn't really fixed the issue themselves. But basically, Windows grabs up all the memory and kind of holds it in a standby state, and once it reaches a point where every bit of the memory is allocated to something, whether it's a game or standby, like everything all together, you will start getting the micro stutters and stuff like that in Battlefield 1 and other games that are affected by it. It's not the cause of all stutters in all games, but it's a significant one for Battlefield 1. There's a tool you can download where you can clear your standby memory. There's also a way to schedule it in your task manager to help alleviate that. But I noticed the degree in which I get stutters is more so on my Ryzen system and even my 8600K, and not as bad on the 8700K, but the 8700K is not stutter free. I'm not going to tell you that. But it's certainly smoother. Now with the tweaked timings and everything on Ryzen, it's certainly improved. I would say that if you're running a Ryzen system and you're trying to achieve high frame rates, you absolutely need to tweak your memory timings. So if you look on the bottom right hand of my screen, or did I say right hand? Bottom left hand corner of my screen, you can see the frame time graph. And anytime there's a significant spike on that, that's me getting a lag spike that I can actually feel. Or a frame stutter, not a connection lag, but a frame stutter. I play like all maps. I'm just playing whatever's on this server right now. I've been trying to get Amiens for the last several days so I can make a video. I decided just to come on and stream today. Amiens hasn't been nearly as popular of a map as it was. I'll actually check in a minute and see if I can hop on there. But I'm good with playing any map. If you guys want to see me try to play on a certain map, just let me know. I'll look for it. Yeah, this is 64 man. Curious, Moonlight, I'm curious what video settings that you're playing on that you never get under 150 FPS. On QHD Ultra, even on my 8700K, I'll certainly see under 150 FPS depending on the map. Let's look for a different map. Hey, what's up? Did you hurt your finger? What'd you do? Be careful. Alright, let's see what's been. Hey, hold on, buddy. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Playing on low. Check this one out. Hey, I'll be right back, guys. What's up, buddy? What do you need? Hey, what do you want, dude? You want to come up here? No? Here's your water. Drink your water. Oh, you want me to get you some water? Alright, I'm back.
know how.
This map is a little bit dark. Nowhere to go. Let's see, how's the stream even looking? How's the stream quality been for you guys? I really like that YouTube allows higher resolutions and higher bit rates. Yep. Yeah, I'm streaming and playing on the same system. I'm using the super fast, I think it is, preset in OBS. Encoder preset, that is. So it's really like the lowest quality for the encoder, but I have the bitrate up high enough, and the resolution's at QHD. But yeah, it's on a 4.2 gigahertz overclock 2700X, and I'm running, it's 3600 BDI memory that's running at 3200 with full subtiming tweaks. It's like straight 14 and 28 timings, and then every little subtiming is tweaked. I use the Ryzen DRAM calculator. The bit rate is 11 megabits per second, I believe, is what I set it at. Oh my god, I got cornered. Yeah, it takes a little bit higher bit rate to stream QHD. YouTube recommends a minimum of 9 megabits. I was actually going to do something more along the lines of Twitch, but I've never used the QHD option, so I wanted to see how that turned out. I believe Twitch is still capped at 6 megabits and 1080. This feels pretty good, playing on the same system for the most part. I mentioned earlier, for anybody that wasn't here, the playing on anything but the like fastest encoder setting really isn't that ideal, though, at least not in this game. If you play on fast, it's pretty slow. You know, obviously you'll get a better stream quality, but you're gonna feel it. Yeah, I'm using software encoding right now. Software encoding definitely produces a better image, and really your encoder speed, the slower the better. So at that 14K bit rate, you can actually get a pretty good picture depending on the resolution you're recording at. The slower the better, and of course it takes more CPU hardware to do that. And that's really why a separate system is like the most ideal. Yeah, the new NVIDIA graphics cards should be pretty legit. And they should help bring the prices down in the market, hopefully. I imagine they're going to be expensive, though. The 1180 or 2080, whatever they land on for a name, I think it's going to be probably an $800 video card. I'd say at least $700 because it's going to take the position of the 1080 Ti. That should drive down the prices of 1080 Ti's. Yeah, the 9900K is going to be pretty beast. There's a lot of information that's suggesting that it's actually going to be soldered. The IHS will be soldered too, which will be significant. And it's going to be necessary, really, for an 8-core, especially based on what an 8700K does stock temperature-wise. Yeah, you're not reviving that guy. Yeah, I mean, if the 9900K can hit 5 gigahertz overclocked on all cores, maybe even higher, it'll certainly give the 7900X a run for its money. The what is it? The 9700K or K that they're talking about, that's going to be 8-core non-hyper-threaded. I think that's going to be a really good gaming processor, especially if it overclocks, you know, around 5 gigahertz, 5.2 gigahertz. That'll be a legit processor. I'm curious on the price of that 9900K though. I really think that's going to be like a $450 processor. I'd be really surprised if it's sub $400. Intel just doesn't have it in them to try to beat AMD in value. At least if it comes soldered, though, at least you won't have to mess around with delidding. I'd like to get my hands on one when it comes out. I'm hoping that they are Z370 compatible. A lot of information suggesting that it will be, but I guess we won't know until it's out. $270, hopefully not. I guess overclocked probably. That'd still be kind of a tough sell. I don't know if I had a 7820X if I would part with it for a 9900. I'd probably hold on to it until 10 nanometer or better comes from Intel. We'll have to see what they can do though. I guess if they can hit like 5.2 on an overclock, it'd be pretty significant. Go throw that away. Yeah, I think that power consumption could be a concern. I don't know how much. I mean, maybe you'll save on the quad channel memory, but I don't know how much power you're gonna save using a same architecture, basically. Whoops. Oh, he was further away. You know, I'll have to try the 8600K gaming and streaming in Battlefield 1. I haven't tried it yet. Maybe we can do that tomorrow or something. I have a little bit more time this week than previously, so we can do a lot more things this week, or going into this weekend. What am I stuck on? Jeez, I couldn't even go forward. I'm just missing, just shooting right over his head. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end up trying the 8600K and the 8700K for the same test. We'll do the same exact encoder, preset, resolution, everything. See what happens. Yeah, that 9900K is definitely going to be a pretty significant processor. Oh, I let him cut me. I think the non-hyper-threaded version is going to be the most ideal for gamers. Curious what the price difference will be. Probably about $100 or something. The 8700K is basically going to be coming i5 once these 9 series come out. Oh my god, horse again. I'm going to crank up this encoder preset so you guys can kind of see how that goes. Let's put it on very fast. Yeah, I think CPU load will be pretty high in Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 on the 9700K. The 90, I don't know though. I think the 9700K will perform better though. You'll see higher utilization, but there's kind of like with hyperthreading, there's like this threshold. You'll see that your GPU usage will go down before you reach 100% usage on a hyperthreaded processor. Yeah, Battlefield 1 really does take everything. I was really hoping when I tested the Battlefield 5 alpha that I would see 16 thread utilization, and that wasn't really so much the case. I wouldn't necessarily rule it out. Maybe by the time launch happens, it'll be good. I'm not sure though. Probably not. Let's check this. Alright, so we are on the very fast encoder preset right now. Still getting pretty good frame rates, at least in this map. It feels like there's a little bit of increased latency though, like input lag. Not too bad though, really. Just got some big stutter there. Oh, I got flanked. Yeah, I really hope that performance is a lot better on launch, because you're right, the alpha did not run that well. Oh, you got all your tools, huh? The alpha ran like really poorly. Like the game did look a lot better, but I'm sure that's definitely not how the end product is going to perform. Then there was also the case where Polaris video cards like your RX 570, 580 did substantially better than NVIDIA, which I'm sure is a driver related thing. Because NVIDIA even has their name on the Battlefield 5, so don't expect that'll be the end product. Probably had a lot to do with console development. What are you doing, huh? Let's try turning this encoder up a little bit. One thing I noticed is if you leave OBS up on your second monitor and try to play it, it really screws up frame rate. Let's go down to fast. This is where it's really going to take. Hey. Hey, don't play with that in here, please. Jay, go play with that outside, please. Go play with it in the living room with your movie, okay? Here, play with the other toys. That's too loud. It's breaking. You broke it too. It's acting weird. Hey, just play with your other stuff right now, okay? Hey, or I'm gonna take it all away. You wanna come up here? Blimpy. Yeah, look at that frame time graph now. Or wait, it actually might get better because I still have OBS up. Go back down. Yeah, you can see what having OBS up on the second screen does though. So it's actually still not too bad as long as you minimize OBS. Yeah, to answer your question though, 6-core 12. Oh god, horse. 6-core 12 thread versus 8-core no hyperthreading. I think that hyperthreading is going to have some advantages in some cases, but I think overall that 8-core non-hyperthread is going to be more powerful. It's kind of the same case with the 7700K versus 8600K. 8600K is a more powerful processor with its 6 cores versus the 4/8 of the 7700K. But there's some instances where like the hyperthreading of the 7700K kind of smooths things out. The 8600K is actually a pretty beast processor though. I actually have spent a lot of time with that at about 5.2, 5.3 gigahertz in my primary system and was quite pleased with it. I feel like Battlefield's probably like the one exception. It still does well, it's just there's something more to gain from an 8700K. Let me know if you guys want to see a certain map or anything. I'm not really too partial. Or even a different game, we can try something else too. Hey, it's everywhere. Personally, I've never experienced hyperthreading being a disadvantage. I've just experienced cases where it's not necessarily an advantage. Like if a game only uses like 4 or 6 threads, you're not really gonna gain anything from hyperthreading. But with that said, turning off hyperthreading doesn't really yield a noticeable difference. It just kind of depends on what kind of utilization is happening at the time. Usually hyperthreading does a better job of stopping your background tasks from causing a performance issue. Talking about Counter-Strike? Counter-Strike is just gonna get good frames regardless, really. It's the kind of game that you see like 300 FPS in. Oh, that's what I get for reading at the same time. Does the stream look any better from having the encoder preset on fast? Do I have it on now? Let's see at what point we take a serious hit. Okay, it's on fast now. Let's go to slow. We're gonna go to a different server. Yeah, the amount of cache can be important depending on the game. That's one thing I kind of want to experiment with, the 8700K turning hyper-threading off and comparing it to the 8600K, because at that point it's just pretty much the cache. Oh, here we go, ambience. Let's see if we can get in. At 1.4 V-core is like, to me that's about the limit that I like to go. You'll still get a lot of years out of a processor at that V-core, but it is certainly on the higher side of things. That's usually about where I draw the line on overclocks. In fact, on my 8700K, I was able to, 5 gigahertz was like the line for my, unfortunately for my 8700K, and it was at like 1.4 volts. I was able to drop to 4.9 very stable at like 1.31, so I currently run that system at 4.9, but I'm running this system at 1.4 volts, 4.2 gigahertz, just to kind of see a best case scenario for it. We could certainly come back and do this with the stock 2700X. Really, you don't. That's the one bummer about Ryzen, really, is you don't really get much of an overclock. Like, this thing does about a 4 gigahertz all core for the most part, 3.9 to 4 gigahertz, and you know, so all that extra voltage, it's really only getting like 200 megahertz. But on 8 cores, depending on what you're doing, that can, you know, be substantial in some cases. The memory tweaking is really where it's at. Alright, here we go. Ambience, I'm running slow. Encoder preset, I'm getting killed. Oh god, I'm weak. Yes, some 8700Ks just don't really overclock too well. 4.9's on the lower end. Mine's really not too much better. Like I say, 5 gigahertz is the best stable I can get out of it, and it's like 1.4, I think like 1.4 405 volts, I think it takes, with a pretty high LLC. A friend of mine bought the 8086K, and even those aren't really as good binned as you would expect them to be for the added cost. But he fortunately got one that does 5.2 gigahertz at the same like 1.32 volts. That's really close to what I get at 4.9. So he got pretty lucky with that chip. But some people are paying a premium for that 8086 and only getting 5 gigahertz, 5.1. That's a bummer for a chip that's supposed to be higher band. But really, like, once you hit 4.9 and up, you're really like scraping at that point. Like, there's just not so much more you're gonna get, and as far as gaming, that's kind of, it's just not worth, in some cases, cranking it up further. So I gotta say, even on the slow encoder preset, this is actually doing quite well. I'll be really curious to run the 8700K up against this same kind of test. Seems like OBS has certainly got better over the years too. So I did a test like this on my 1700 back when I got it and was not getting very good results. In this map, I've seen as low as, you know, the frame rates I'm getting now, pretty close to it without streaming, so with this processor. The overall usage is certainly higher though. As you can see, it's hitting like 75%, which is pretty high on this A core. This is pretty doable though. I mean, I don't really like to play at 100 FPS. I'm kind of spoiled at playing at, you know, 144 plus. But this is certainly playable. You guys notice a difference in the stream quality when I put the encoder on slow? Really? I didn't see him go there. Yeah, that's what they're saying, October. I'll probably try to get my hands on at least the 9700K or the 9900K, hopefully. As long as I can run it on my Z370 motherboard. Which a lot of things are saying that you should be able to, so I don't think the community is going to like it too much if Intel doesn't allow that to happen, especially after the whole Z270 to 370 debacle. One second. Hey, bring that out there. It's too loud in here. It's too loud in here, but don't shut the door. Hey, don't shut the door.
No.
Hey, take this out there. Or just don't play with it, okay? It's too loud.
No.
Hey, be a good boy, okay? Hey, I just told you that's too loud. Okay? What are you doing? Jay, can you go play out in the living room for a little bit? Dad will be out there in a little bit, okay? Okay? What are you looking for? What is it? Hey, stop. Jay. Jameson, listen to me. Hey, I'm gonna take your tools away.
No.
Then get out from behind there. Jameson, I'm gonna take your tools away and I'm gonna spank your butt. You understand me? Get out from behind there. Come on, dude. Be a good boy. Jameson. Jameson, why aren't you listening? I'm gonna take your toys away. I'm gonna take your toys away if you don't stop. Knock it off. Okay?
No, no. No.
What? Yeah, that's not gonna work. Yeah, I'll probably do this same test tomorrow, hopefully, or maybe even later today. We'll see what happens on the, at least on the 8700K. So I still have that set up. Oh wow, not paying attention. Let's change this encoder again. bitrate as well. Let's see how good we can make this stream look and remain playable. Oh, let's minimize this. It's all in the same system too. Oh man, didn't even hear it. Alright, we're on the absolute slowest encoder setting, which is the highest quality. It's at 15 megabit bit rate, and it is software encoded. This is QHD Ultra preset. It's about as bad as it can be. And it's on the most demanding map. This area gets a little bit more ridiculous the more people that are in this back section, I noticed. It's like the worst CPU bottleneck area of the map. Ah. You want to sit up here? You gonna help me out? Is that right? Yeah, so I guess earlier I was saying on a slower encoder preset it was slower, but I guess that was because I left OBS up on the other screen when I did it. Because now I'm on the absolute slowest setting, and it's really not too bad. I mean, I don't prefer to play it 80 FPS or 90 FPS, but all things considered, this is quite good. This is about the most demanding scenario you're gonna get. Okay, don't climb. Got him. Hey, hold on, buddy. Oh, you got daddy killed. Okay, bye. I ran right by him. Alright, going back to the ultra fast encoder preset. Oops. Insane. Boom, 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 boom. So dropping to medium preset doesn't really seem to help too much. Helps a little bit. I guess the peak frame did go up a little bit higher. Oh my god, I'm like shooting this guy.
No! Rock, stick, oh, boom, rock.
Wow.
Wow.
Really? Hey, you too, man. Thanks for coming by. Diabetes. Giant's Shadow seems to be a pretty demanding map as well.
Oh no! Ah! No, I didn't bet. Ooh.
Duk, 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 duk.
Oh no! Oh, nice. Ooh. Okay. Long. Right. Oh. No! Good. Oh!
Oh man. Alright, let's try a different game. Let's try PUBG. See how that streams. Yeah, I think so, Moonlight. The 7800X is just a weird chip. It doesn't really want to overclock very high. some rando, see how that goes. Reposition this. Maybe a little bit higher. 10. Yeah, we'll try that out. I'll be right back. So, man. Looks like one duo here with us. Yo, Moonlight, do you play PUBG? Go on, dude. It's kind of far away. I think that's somebody else. No, the door was open in this building. They might have. You need a 4x and drop one. Zone's on us too, by the way. Yep. I always feel like it's about the difference between having your gun out and like putting your gun away. It's about that much. So then like if you run with no gun out, it's just about that much faster. It's not a huge difference, but it makes a difference over further travel. alright, I'm a few seconds behind you. I see him. I see him. I'm getting fucked up. I'm downed. Well, yeah, GG. Alright, well, that's the end of this stream. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break. Next time I might be coming down with the 8700K. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.